This is Garis, Masculist, MGTOW, flyers, that is 2-3 page essays on the themes of masculism and MGTOW, written by and read aloud by Prof. Dr. Hugo de Garis. This is flyer number 280, entitled "The Red Pill is Truly Poisonous." Description: this flyer imagines how relations between the sexes will deteriorate as nearly all men take the red pill. That is, they learn that women don't love men, but rather love men's sexploitability. Men will sour at being sexploited and abused by women, who evolve to sexploitatively abuse men to extract from them male resources for women's gain and their babies. Women will be pushed aside and once again be treated as second class, as has been the norm for thousands of generations. Flyer itself. The Red Pill is Truly Poisonous by Prof. Dr. Hugo de Garis. Email profhugodegaris@yahoo.com. Website profhugodegaris.wordpress.com. This flyer imagines how the two sexes will relate once nearly all men have swallowed the red pill, as the MGTOWs say. That is, when nearly all men have learned the true nature of women. That is, that women do not love men, but love men's sexploitability. A woman's love, in quotes, for a man is conditional. That is, she will quickly, coldly, and disloyally fall out of love with him if he loses his exploitability by her. Women evolved to be like this, and it makes good Darwinian sense that they did. A woman who remained loyal to her male sexual partner, who lost his ability to give scarce male-hunted meat to his female sexual partner and her babies, risked her very life when conditions were so precarious that starvation was only a missed meal away. Women's core criterion for judging a man is his ability to provide resources to her. Women are intrinsically parasitic. Women evolved to be parasites of men. In fact, women evolved to be prostitutes for men in order to be better able to be more effective parasites of men. The human female is the sexiest of mammals, not having days of sexual heat the way dogs and monkeys do, because the human female is always in heat every day of the month, so as to be more able to bribe a man to give her male-hunted meat that she could not hunt herself, because she was tied down with useless, helpless infants, which had to be born prematurely, while their heads were still small enough to pass through the birth canal and continue to grow after the birth. The red pill for MGTOWs, men going their own way, that is, men who refuse to marry, refuse to have kids, spending their money on themselves, is the knowledge that women don't love men, but rather they love men's exploitability, their parasitability, their potential to provide a woman with resources, to make her life easier to raise children that she desperately wants, her raison d'etre as a female. The red pill is an analogy taken from the movie The Matrix. In the movie, if you take the red pill, you choose to know the bitter truth that intelligent machines have taken over human beings and keep them in capsules to extract energy from them using human bodies as batteries. Taking the blue pill means staying in the Matrix, the title of the film, which is a computer program that sends signals directly into the brains of the humans to make them feel they are living in the 20th century. To MGTOWs, the red pill, by analogy, is the knowledge of the very negative reality that women don't love men, but merely use them, parasite off them to make life easier for them to raise kids. If a man loses his ability to provide her with resources, that is, in the modern age, money, then she will monkey branch to another man who will provide her with money, and she will bribe the new man with her vagina that is receptive every day of the month. She evolved to be like that. In fact, for men, The situation with women is even worse than the above, because women are hypergamous, that is, they are constantly on the lookout for a more sexploitable male. In the distant past, if a woman could dump her current resource-providing man for a man who was a much better hunter or had more power and hence more resources, and the opportunity to do that was realistic, then she would have no qualms about dumping her current man and monkey branch to her new man, giving him her vagina in exchange for his greater resources. MGTOWs and Masculists know these very negative truths about women, that women evolved to be like this, but knowing that this is the true nature of women does not make it any easier for men to feel exploited by women, to feel abused by women who see men as cash machines. Men deeply resent being treated by women as cash machines. Swallowing the red pill, that is becoming conscious of women's true exploitative nature, women's true sexploitative nature, women's hypergamy, women's conditional love of men, makes men cynical of women, suspicious of women, distrustful of women. The red pill knowledge makes men see women as sexploiters, as abusers of men, and men hate being abused. MGTOWs and Masculists also know that nature has also conspired against men in the form of the neurophysiological phenomenon of the male frontal lobe switch-off. That is, when a man sees his regular female sexual partner, his frontal lobes switch off. That is, the frontal portions of his brain that are responsible for long-term planning and critical thinking. That is, all a woman has to do to control a man and get him to mindlessly do what she wants, that is, to give her and her babies resources, then she only has to sex him regularly and long enough for his frontal lobes to switch off in her presence. MGTOWs and Masculists know about women's sexploitative nature, women's hypergamy, and the frontal lobe switch off, so are wary of women, distrustful of women. In most cultures in the past, women were always treated as second-class citizens because they contributed so little to the tribe, except for the obvious monopoly they had in giving men sex and growing the next generation. But women were useless for the things the tribe considered really important, that is, survival, warfare, heavy labour in the fields, etc. It's only recently, this past few decades, that women have attained any real power, and even then because male feminists gave that power to women. Personally, I consider this rise to power of women to be only a historical glitch, because men, once they are armed with the knowledge of the red pill, hypergamy, and the frontal lobe switch-off, will again see women as amoral sexploiters, as abusers of men, and will look down on women, as men have done to women for thousands of generations. Women will not be able to fully suppress their true sexploitative natures in their interactions with men. So when their true nature does surface, despite their pretense of being nice to men because of men's other qualities, that is, not those that women really want, that is his money, his resources, then men will become really cynical, bitter, and reject these women as abusers of men, to be kept at an emotional distance, because they will see women for what they truly are, that is, exploiters of men, abusers of men, manipulators of men, instead of fending for themselves. That is now possible in the modern age. Women evolved to be fluffies, in modern masculist parlance. A fluffy is a traditional woman who expects to be able to parasite off the money of a man. It's in women's DNA to have such fluffy attitudes. Women cannot help it. Of course, in the modern era, with the contraceptive pill, household gadgets, higher education, etc., women can be FIPs, financially independent persons. And many women are, because they have a career window of some 40 years, even if they have 2 kids, so do not want to rot in the home for all those decades, so they develop their career skills and become FIPs. But even FIP women are still women, with female natures, with female DNA, programmed to vaginally wet at the sight of a rich, powerful man, and to remain vaginally dry at the sight of an ugly, poor man. Women evolved to be hypergamous, so women will have great difficulty adapting to masculist demands that women FIP up, that is, become FIPs, or be punished by men, by being forced to rot on the shelf, by being manless, wiping out her fluffy genes from the gene pool. Men will be red-pilled across the board. Women will know that men know about women's true nature, and will be forced to try to hide it if they have any chance of having a relationship with a man. But the moment her true nature surfaces, when she lets her guard slip and her true sexploitative nature surfaces, and the man she is with sees this, then he will know what she is doing and will express his contempt for her and for her sex. As millions of men do this, women's status will go down, and women will not be taken seriously by men, which has always been the case until only this past century. Women have always really only been tolerated by men because women were necessary for the survival of the tribe, due to women's two monopolies of providing sex to men and growing the next generation. But male genius will overcome these two female monopolies in probably a decade or less. The sex bots are coming out now, life-size, lifelike, with luscious curves, movie star faces, creamy, grippy vaginas, which men prefer to sex than women. So women's value in men's eyes will plummet. Men will soon be able to grow their own kids. Japanese scientists have already grown a goat in an artificial womb, so growing a human baby can't be far off. Once these two technologies are with us, women's status will nosedive. Men will not be forced to tolerate women because they were necessary. Now women will not be necessary. So women's very negative nature, their nagging, their irrationality, their moodiness, bad temper, emotionality and hysterics will not be tolerated by men, so that women will be largely pushed aside by men and relegated to their own quarters, their female spheres of life, separated from men, except at night, for those men who prefer the company of a real woman rather than an artificial intelligence-based sex bot. Many men, however, will prefer to sex their bots and grow their own kids, and not have to put up with the many negative traits of females, and hence will look down on women as the inferior sex, as an alien inferior species, to be kept at a distance and not to be taken seriously. Thus, from women's point of view, the red pill is truly poisonous, because it sours relations between the sexes, making men much more cynical of women and less prone to be abused and sexploited by women. Women will come to truly hate MGTOW and masculism, because these two ideologies will have made their status a lot lower than what women enjoy today. Cheers. Prof. Dr. Hugo de Garis. Email profhugodegaris@yahoo.com. Website profhugodegaris.wordpress.com. YouTube channels, De Garis, Masculist, MGTOW, Flyers, and De Garis Essays. Patreon, patreon.com/profhugodegaris. Minds.com/profhugodegaris. Ciao.